I played club soccer outside of school, and everyone that I played with didn't go to my school. They were in different schools, so their schools were all in Spanish. So one of the first times that we went to the U.S. was we had a tournament here. I think it was like in Tampa or Cocoa Beach or something like that, Hialeah, and we go to play, and everyone's much bigger than us, faster than us. They're just all around stronger than us. They were better than us by, it was just ridiculous. So we got our asses whooped. That happened, and then we're talking with the kids after the game, and it was just something that I never really expected. They asked me, oh, how did you guys pay for your uniforms in coconuts? And I was just kind of like, what? And then after that, it was, what highway did you guys use to drive over here? And do you guys speak Puerto Rican? So I always knew English. I saw myself as very connected with American culture. I only watched TV in English. I listened to music in English. I didn't really do a lot of local TV and stuff like that. And then for someone to come and talk to me like that, it was just, I was really taken back. I was not something I was ever going to expect, and it made me realize, just even though I was so assimilated into this other culture, I thought there was still like a really long way to go, and we were still very seen as very different and very far away from that what they are. It's funny, my dad sent me this car from Puerto Rico. It used to be his truck, actually. And I got in an accident with the car that I had here, so I lost it. So they sent me this one. When I first started painting, this used to be the car that I always take to go paint with my friends, and I'd pack like 3 or 4 people in here, lots of paint, and it'd always get really dirty. And my dad would get really pissed, and he kept telling me, if you keep getting my car dirty, then you're not gonna take my car to paint anymore. So I guess it's lucky now that the car is mine. I don't think I get too much paint on it, but we'll see. Yo, you ready? Let's do it. We're going to 004 Connect in Wynwood. I learned about this store a couple of years ago when I was in summer break from college. I was living here with a friend for 2 months working, and I wanted to go paint, but I didn't want to pay very high prices for paint again, because that's all that we had known before. And he told me about this store, and it's a local store here in Wynwood. They're all local guys, and they sell paint for $6 a can, and it's really good shit. So just like supporting the local people and getting some good paint while we're at it. I'm about to call my dad. I gotta ask him a question for one of the stories that I wanted to tell. I wanna make sure that I don't make anything up, so let's see if he answers. Papi!
¿Qué pasó, mi amor? Te quiero.
Te quiero mucho también. Mira. I asked my dad about his stories of when he went to backpack through Europe when he was 19. And he told me the story of when he met the only 2 Puerto Ricans that he met in his entire time. So he says he arrived to the train station. He arrived to the train station in Munich, Germany, and he's waiting for a bus or something like that. And he has a little Puerto Rican flag hanging out his backpack. So some guy comes up to him. He says, some crazy hippie dude with a bunch of hair, and he's like, "Oh, are you Puerto Rican?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." oh, me too. Oh, they start talking. He tells the guy that he's looking for this office where they offer services for youth who are traveling to put them into hostels and get jobs. And he asks him if he knows where it is, and the guy's like, yeah, of course I know where it is. I'll take you to it. So they're walking, and he says he's some crazy hippie dude who's gonna go meditate in India for a couple of years, and they're having a good time. They're talking in Spanish while they're walking down the street, and some lady walking by them hears them talking and says, oh, I'm sorry, are you two Puerto Rican? And they say, yeah, we're Puerto Rican. So she says, I'm Puerto Rican too. And the guy's like, oh, well, what do you know? Well, I'm just taking this young man to this office so he can find a place to stay, maybe a hostel. And she says, well, I'm actually on my way there myself, so I can take you. So the guy was like, thank you. So they kind of passed my dad off, and she took him to the office. He got a place to stay. They helped him out with finding some work as well. And that was the last time he ever ran into any Puerto Ricans he didn't know while in Europe. It was both on the first day, and they both helped him to get something that he really needed. So that just goes to show you how being Puerto Rican is much more than just being on the island or being proud of where you are. It's always helping out any other person who is the same as you, no matter where you are in the world. This is pretty good. This is perfect. Let's do it. So we just finished. It took a little bit longer than expected. That always tends to happen with pieces. You got to remember that. It feels really good. I think the star looks good. I took a while on it. And I just wanted to say that I know everyone knows that Puerto Rico is going through some difficult times right now. I'm not home. I'm living somewhere else. I'm abroad. And I'm really sorry there's nothing that I can do about it right now. I will be home eventually to do everything I can. But right now, this is me showing that I understand we're going through a difficult time and it's unfair for us, and I want the world to listen. So I hope you listen too. We made it back home. Almost had a little scare there at the end, but everything's cool. Just got one more story for you guys. This one comes from one of my middle school teachers, actually. He's Puerto Rican, born in New York. He fought in the Vietnam War, and he told us stories about how just like there were black regiments, black-only regiments, there were Puerto Rican-only regiments. And because Puerto Ricans are smaller than many Americans, they would use the Puerto Ricans to send them into the manholes where the Viet Cong would dig and hide underneath the ground. And they wanted to find out who was there, and the first line of people going in to check it out were the Puerto Ricans. So I just think that's a really important thing to say, because we want to be given the respect we deserve for all that we've contributed to this country in the armed forces, in everyday life, and equal respect should be given to every single man and woman who serves. I think that's not something that can be ignored. And me painting this flag today is not saying that I think one is better than the other, or that I'm trying to say something bad about the other, but I just think that my people have gone through a lot of abuses. The country, we've been taken advantage of a lot, and I paint the flag in black and white as a protest, as kind of like a scream to let people know that, hey, these things are happening and we're aware of what's happening. And I just want everyone to know that no matter what you do, always be thinking about us and be thinking about everything that we're fighting for.